In the headlines tonight, Dredwa trade zone handles 4,000 containers at a time. Expert says Ethiopia's Blue Economy Initiative set to expedite its green development strategy plan. Good evening to you all. Very warm welcome to ETV News. I'm Grum Tariku. The Dredwa Dry Port and Terminal Free Trade Zone, which is inaugurated recently, has the capacity to handle 4,000 containers at a time. The emerging dry port meets international dry port infrastructure requirements, and it is in the process of completing preliminary preparations to start operation. The trade zone is believed to exert momentum for import-export scheme of the country. Tigsternis has more on this.
Ethiopia has recently realized its first free trade zone in the vibrant city, Dredwa. It is believed that the implementation of dry port and terminal project in the city will play an essential role in the success of the free trade zone. During the inauguration, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has called on Ethiopian investors to make extensive use of the free trade zone opportunities.
The laws issued in this zone are generally simpler than the laws issued throughout Ethiopia. It is intentionally done by the government to streamline and simplify the financial and administrative system. You are also expected to use the opportunity to increase our exports and imports in a systematic way that will help the country grow.
The Dredwa Dry Port and Terminal, which could be mentioned as a reason for the success of free trade, is owned by the Ethiopian Maritime Transport and Logistics Service Company in accordance with international standards.
It's the fast-track project commenced in May 2020. The area of this project is 34.1 hectares. Among the standards that enhance or increase the international standards of this dry port, we mentioned that it is directly connected to the main Ethio-Djibouti railway line by Link Rail. Apart from that, the inclusion of modern truck machines, a workshop where various types of vehicles can get enough maintenance, and a warehouse of 5,400 square meters wide will raise the standard of this project.
It was stated that the dry port and terminal of Dredwa was built to have the capacity to handle 4,000 containers at a time.
There is what we call container terminal and there is what we call infrastructural area. There are about 6.4 hectares that we have prepared for the container terminal area, which means that it is designed to handle 4,000 containers at a time.
As the port is closer to Djibouti, it will reduce the amount of foreign exchange paid to other port, creating an alternative transport option and allowing customers to store containers closer. It has been stated that the process of starting the work of the dry port is being completed.
The Minister of Education has announced that free and compulsory education will be delivered from kindergarten to 8th grade as designed in the new draft education and research policy. Based on the findings of the new education roadmap, General Education Bill will be implemented to enable citizens to undergo the compulsory system from nursery to 8th grade and streamline the education process, according to Tedros Shawaragad, head of the ministry's Curriculum Enhancement Department. Extensive study was conducted by local experts in 6 sectors, which includes nursery, primary, secondary, teachers training, technical and vocational education, higher education and policy issues, the official said. The Ministry of Education and Regional Education Bureaus have prepared textbooks and piloted them from KG to 8th grade, and based on the pilot project, preparations are being made for full implementation of the new education policy in 2020 to 23 academic year. The Arisi Zone Agriculture Office says wheat production and productivity through cluster farming are incredible. Previous moves are being underway to effectively realize that wheat production to ensure the national ambition by exerting appropriate efforts. Kasaun Chane reports.
Arisi Zone Agriculture Office says there has been an assortment of activities to boost wheat production and productivity in the budget years 2022 and 2023 through cluster farming. Accordingly, the zone is pleasingly comprehended for years wheat and barley production in Oromia region state during the launch. Arisi Zone Agriculture Office head said that the zone has already achieved tremendous progress, surpassing its plan.
For developing countries like Ethiopia with a flourishing youth population, achieving food sufficiency and import substitution is a game changer. Ethiopia can be able to meet domestic demand and prepare itself to export to neighboring countries. Wheat production in Ethiopia for the budget year 2022-2023 is projected to reach a record level of 5.7 million metric tons, while corn is forecasted to go up to 10.2 million metric tons. The government has identified top priorities that can increase production and productivity of cereals through small and large-scale irrigation development, financing agriculture imports, encouraging cluster farming, and reducing post-harvest loss. We're here at Hate Wheat Farm in Hot Esa district of Arsi Zone, state of Oromia. A total of 6.3 million hectares of land is being cultivated in a state. I'm Kasaun Chane for ETV English.
We have already covered 64,639 hectares of land. This means it is 109%. Although the rain was a bit delayed, we had ample rigorous efforts to cover this amount of land.
Farmers residing around said the lack of fertilizer that has been provided for the existing Mahar farming is not enough. Besides pesticides, sprayers and personal protective gear to speed up their work.
The wheat right from now on up to its harvest needs chemicals, pesticides, sprayers and personal protective gears. Although the equipment is being delivered with unions, it is not as we expected. The government should give due attention. Chemicals are not this considerably delivered to us, and the price of the pesticides has become the worst for our work, besides the scarcity of fertilizers.
Experts said Ethiopia is implementing effective blue economy project aligned with its own green development strategy in the Horn region. Talking to ETV, the experts remarked that Ethiopia is realizing exemplary green development activities to curb the negative impact of climate change. Haptam Ashagre compiled the following report.
Ethiopia is still far from properly utilizing its aquatic resources over the past many years. Recently, the East African nation is working to utilize its natural resource, aiming to alleviate poverty and backwardness, among other problems. In an exclusive interview, IGAD disclosed that it has defined what blue economy means.
Blue economy is a new concept, started around 2012, rolling up, and now it peaks to the highest stage. Blue economy is about the economy associated to water, both inland and coastal countries.
Ocean or inland waters related industries and the Blue Growth Principles.
It's to be recalled that they got prepared the Regional Bloc's 5-year Blue Economic Strategy. The Regional Blue Economy Strategy will serve as the framework to guide the development of the National Blue Economy Strategy of the member states. According to the project manager, Ethiopia has been implementing the Blue Economy Initiative in a way that helps expedite its Green Legacy Initiative.
In the Ethiopian context, the mega project on Gorgora is on water that will be dealing with blue tourism. There will be transport from Bahar Dar to Gondar. The same hold, this is a mega project for Wanji. Why these mega projects are close to the water? That is the concept of blue economy. You have multi-sectors that are generating. So they will create job, they will create livelihood, and also you will add value for across the value chain in the blue sector.
The State Minister for Agriculture, Fikru Ragasa, for his part said Ethiopia has developed its own green development strategy aligned with IGAD's blue economy to alleviate socio-economic challenges.
The blue economy is, we are going to develop a strategy. So IGAD is trying to develop the blue economy for IGAD member states. And Ethiopia is also going to develop the Blue Economy Strategic Plan. So you see that we are not even there to develop the strategic plan, and it's a lesson that we are going to draw from the blue economy of the IGAD member states. So IGAD plays a good role in really also helping us to develop this blue economy strategy. And this is something that we are going to, get from the forum also, the experience, and from IGAD member states.
The IGAD member states have kicked off the second IGAD Regional Fishery Coordination Platform workshop to put directions how to strengthen regional cooperation.
2018. Ethiopian Cultural Promotion and Appreciation event was held at Machida, Kanagawa Prefecture in Japan. On the occasion, Ambassador Tafara Darbo commended the organizers, congratulated the participants on the successful third round filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, and briefed them on the GERD electrification and its regional integration role. He thanked all who contributed materially and morally to the completion of the third filling and start of operation of the second turbine. Ethiopian food and drinks, including famous Ethiopian coffee, were served at the event. The Cultural and Appreciation event was hosted by Freyot Brahane, an Ethiopian entrepreneur in Japan, and Nakoyo Tomoi, an Ethiopian product promoter, importer, and member of the Ethiopian Association in Japan. South Sudanese presidential advisor on national security affairs says the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam GERD will not cause any harm to downstream countries. A high-level delegation led by Presidential Advisor General Kong Tip Tip Gatlok, and along with senior security and civil officials, has toured the construction site of the Renaissance Dam. Jerusalem has more from Ethiopian News Agency.
Last week, Ethiopia stunned the world by filling the GERD's reservoir for the third time in a row. Ethiopia first began generating electricity from the GERD in February. Currently, the two turbines, out of a total of 13, have a capacity to generate 750 megawatts of electricity. On Monday, a high-level delegation led by the South Sudan Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs, General Kong Tip Tip Gatlok, along with senior security and civil officials, has visited the construction site of Ethiopia's Renaissance Dam. After the visit, the presidential advisor said that the GERD will not cause any significant harm to downstream countries and is instrumental for regional energy integration. Gatlok added this dam is going to help expedite the integration of the East African region through the supply of electricity.
We found that the dam is a large project and can provide all neighboring countries with electricity. we have really seen a very big job. We have said that this opportunity to visit the construction site of GERD and prove that the dam has not had any negative impact on downstream countries, and it is instrumental for regional energy integration.
In order to accelerate the connectivity of the region with power, the advisor said Ethiopia has already started to sell electricity to Djibouti, Sudan and Kenya will follow suit soon. In this regard, GERD, a hydropower project built on the Nile River, will have a huge impact, he mentioned. The advisor finally urged Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan to reinforce the trilateral negotiation on GERD. Minister of Defense Abraham Belai said on his part that the construction of the Renaissance Dam is a project not only for Ethiopia but also for Africans, especially for neighboring countries.
The dam we are building is not only for Ethiopia but also for Africa. Rumors about the dam and the reality on the ground are totally different. The countries of the river basin should also understand that this dam ensures mutual benefit. For instance, our Grand Renaissance Dam has 2 bottom outlets for the purpose of downstream countries, so that they can get water in the entire year.
Currently, the total civil construction of the project has reached 95%, while the electromechanical work stands at 61%. Ethiopia plans to complete the GERD in 2.5 years.
Local and Chinese tourism experts are collaborating to promote Ethiopian hidden tourism attractions worth visiting. In this scheme, cross-cultural collaboration between the Oromia region and China is gaining momentum, and more Chinese tour operators and interpreters continue to engage in the region's tourism sector. In this context, recently the Oromia Tourism Commission has launched a website dubbed Visit Oromia, Google Arts and Culture to promote the region's most diversified land, cultures, traditions and long history. The website was launched during Tourism and Technology Week organized by Oromia Tourism Commission that aims to create a policy discussion platform for tourism-related issues and promote the country's tourism destinations using digital technology. According to the Commissioner, agreements have been reached with the Chinese firms to develop tourism destinations and boost business-to-business relations as part of cementing cooperation in the tourism sector.
ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ከ50 ሚሊዮን በላይ ህዝብ የኤሌክትሪክ ላይት አያገኝም። በ21ኛው ክፍለ ዘመን አሁንም በኩራዝ ይጠቀማል። ዛሬም የኢትዮጵያ እናቶች ወገባቸው እስኪጎብጥ ለማመን የሚከብድ እንጨት ተሸክመው ልጆች ያስተምራሉ። የእናቶቻችን ወገብ አይጉበጥ፣ ኤሌክትሪክ ላይት እናገኝ ማለት ቤዚክ መብት እንጂ ሌሎች መጉዳት አይደለም።
Ethiopian ambassador to China, Tashoma Toga, made a 2-day working visit to northern China's Heilongjiang province recently. The visit aimed at laying the foundation work for trade and investment, people-to-people ties, scholarship programs, partnership at the provincial city and higher education institutions levels, and other related areas between Ethiopia and Heilongjiang. During the visit, Ambassador Tashoma met and held bilateral discussions with Wang Xijia, Vice Governor of Heilongjiang Province, Guo Shunmin, Vice Mayor of Harbin City, Wu Weng, Director General of the Provincial Foreign Affairs Office, and other high officials. On the margins of the visit, the ambassador also attended the opening ceremony of the 2022 World 5G Convention as a guest of honor.
Ethiopia is implementing a green legacy initiative over the past 3 years. The nation target is to plant over 20 billion young trees across the country. This project invites neighboring countries like Eritrea, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, and Kenya.
Ethiopia's microeconomy remains hopeful despite many challenges. ETV English will look into this in greater details through fresh stories and news analysis. Coming to you this August.
In August, top stories on Addis News How. After the conflict in the northern parts of Ethiopia, the TPLF is preparing another wage of war against Ethiopia. ETV Language is discussing these matters with professionals, experts, politicians, even government officials. We brought this information on Addis News How. Stay tuned to ETV Languages.
And finally, observation group by the name ELOG said they had dispatched over 5,000 observers across 290 constituencies in 47 countries in the whole of Kenya. Meanwhile, the 4 IEBG commissioners who rejected Monday's presidential results claimed that the summation of the percentage of votes awarded to each of the 4 presidential candidates exceeded 100%. Shagayamato has the details.
A group of independent observers has said that the just concluded Kenya's presidential election corresponds to their own tally. The observation group by the name of ELOG said they had dispatched over 5,000 observers across 290 constituencies in 47 counties in the whole of Kenya.
ELOG notes that the results transmission system worked much better than expected, with over 99% of scanned images of the 34A and 34B posted on the IEBC web portal. However, we are extremely concerned about the chaos that broke out at the National Tallying Center at Bomas of Kenya, as well as a split within the IEBC, leading to some commissioners to quit from the tallying process and issue their own statements prior to the announcement of the presidential results.
But this comes amidst concerns raised by 4 of the IEBC commissioners who begged to differ on the results. Briefing the media, the commissioners further said they refused to take ownership of the results because the results declare the number of total registered voters, votes cast, and the number of rejected voters. This, they said, was against the Constitution and the law. The ELOG further reiterated that it is up to the Supreme Court of Kenya to validate the declaration made by the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission.
Whereas the fact that the commissioners were not there and did not agree with it, that would be a legal battle in itself. But for purposes of being a returning officer, he was in his right place to pronounce, and he was undertaking his constitutional duty as he pronounced the results.
The next move for the former Premier Raila Odinga can see him move to the country's highest court to invalidate Ruto's win as per the Electoral Commission.
Over now to a quick reminder of the headlines. Dredwa Trade Zone handles 4,000 containers at a time. Ethiopia's Blue Economy initiatives set to expedite its green development strategy plan. Well, you have been watching ETV News. Thanks for your company and have a great time.